Voices on both sides of the door. Canadian and Indian students make sense through drama. My research in the last few years has brought my team to drama classrooms around the world, including classrooms at Middleview Secondary School in Toronto, Canada, and Prerna School in Lucknow, India, Prerna being the Hindi word for inspiration. While speaking about drama with students and teachers, observing their classrooms and facilitating conversations between the participants across these two sites, we have found that drama classrooms can be unique and unpredictable environments, constantly in flux. Perhaps we should begin where the classes begin. Miss S is a drama teacher at Middleview, and her class always begins with the lives and experiences of her students. Giving her students the opportunity to share stories with one another is at the heart of her teaching.
A lot of the work that I do does allow for opportunities for youth to tell their own stories, and I'm interested in that kind of work because I think I'm just drawn to people's stories artistically in general, and I think, you know, you find your own voice as an artist or a writer when you sort of discover what your own story is. And also, I think it helps to build community in the classroom because it's hard to be negative or demeaning towards someone whose story you know.
In the time that we spent with Miss S's class, she framed her curriculum around a project she called The Doors, which gave her students a chance to reflect on the experiences they've had in their lives using the metaphor of a door. A door is a threshold, a closed door, an open door. Students wrote their own scripts for short scenes, which they then performed as a larger piece for their school. She explained to us why she chose this project and how she carried it out.
It's powerful for youth to be able to do that and to hear each other's stories. But I'm always judging. Like, does this feel safe? Does this feel, and always when it comes to performance, giving them the veto power to say, no, I do not want to tell my story in front of the audience, or even the classroom. Like, you would never sort of force that as part of your curriculum. It's always entered into voluntarily.
Belle, a student in Miss S's class, spoke to one research assistant about her overall experience in the Doors project.
So can you think of an example of this, sometime when you surprised yourself or you learned something about yourself because you were trying on a role that was different than who you are?
I think the one where I played a lesbian with Lisa. Like, at first I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. And then it didn't really faze me that what I was doing was somebody's life. Actually, people go through that on a daily basis. And, like, when we went up, me and Lisa, I was holding her hands, and there's a little bit of, like, giggles in the audience.
Yeah.
And I guess for me, I, got to see what it was like for a few minutes to be someone in that kind of place and, what they're fighting for and for their equal rights. I guess I understood more about that. Because, when people tell you, you're just like, yeah, okay, whatever, until you personally go through it, and then you understand it better.
So do you think then that creating a project like The Doors, as difficult as it was, brought people together, even though then people splintered off and quit and there was tension and all of that?
Well, I think so, because in the end, generally we all pulled through, right? You can't really get mad at somebody for being sick, but we all just supported each other, and people still showed up, even if they had no part in it, they still supported. And it was a nice feeling to be like, yeah, okay, you're going to support me, we're going to do it. And when people got scared, we comforted each other.
Many, though not all of the students, found the drama class a positive and transformative experience because of the connections they made with one another.
Yeah, I got really nervous one time before, and I started dancing around to help relax myself, and then somebody joined in with me. I forget who it was, and it felt good to be like, okay, I don't look like I'm a silly little person just dancing by myself, and they helped me took it off.
My team was also fortunate to visit Prerna School, which was founded in 2003 to support disadvantaged girls from urban slums in Lucknow. Prerna serves girls from preschool to grade 12, girls who would otherwise not attend school. And even though my team found that the school was extremely different from Middleview on so many levels, students there were also encouraged by their teachers and the school's founder and executive director, Dr. Urvashi Sani, to use drama as a forum for discussing issues in their lives, together. At Prerna, drama is infused in many of the classes that the girls take and commonly starts with something they call critical dialogues that address concerns in their lives. Miss Kay, a teacher at the school, explained the importance of these dialogues and the drama that came from them.
I think they have usually taken up issues which are very closely related to their lives. They have not taken any play which has not touched any one angle of their life, be it domestic violence, be it early marriage, be it a drunken father, be it exploitative father, any sexual abuse problem. They have almost tried to touch almost all the problems that they face. And at times they are the ones who are writing the script. And then they find those plays very close to them, their lives. And when they are enacting, you can really find that it's, like the real self which is enacting them.
In your experience as a psychologist, would you understand that to be therapy or therapeutic?
Yeah, it has empowered them. It has really empowered them because, while enacting the problems, they have enacted the solutions also to it. And from that solution, they have actually found solutions to their own problems.
Yeah.
So it has got some therapeutic values also.
So it's like a rehearsal for
Yeah.
the solution that you might enact in your life.
For sure. And if they do not find a solution, they try and put suggestions into it as to what they would like. So you can really feel that this is what they want in life. So, and if we can help them, guide them, assist them, probably one day they will be able to do that.
The focus on students' lives is a deliberate choice made by Miss S. in Toronto and Dr. Sani and the teachers at Prerna. At Prerna, it's a result of the shift in the school's philosophical underpinnings. When the school began in 2003, Dr. Sani realized that even though they were providing an affordable school for girls from local slums who were disadvantaged on many levels, there were also significant issues that these girls faced in getting to school, staying in school, and overcoming the many forces of oppression in their lives.
Now, you know what the situation of women worldwide, and the reason for starting Prerna was because the situation worldwide and the situation of women in India is as bad as it is. UNICEF figures were frightening, and they said that out of every 100 girls that got admitted in class 1, by the time you reached high school, there were 3 left. Okay, and I don't think they are very far out. It's not a lie. It has changed, but very marginally. Government figures tell us that our literacy rates in India are now about 74% for men and 53% for women.
Taking into account what they were learning, Dr. Sani realized that it was necessary for the school to shift from being based on learning outcomes to life outcomes, to better address issues of gender inequality and the injustices the girls faced. Prerna, therefore, adopted a critical feminist pedagogical and philosophical approach.
We very deliberately have focused on making the school a universe of care, right? In fact, when we orient the teachers are told to know about their children's lives, to do a mother's meeting every month so that they can talk to the mothers about their children's lives, to conduct gender conversations regularly with their students.
Dr. Sani focuses on helping the girls develop agency in their lives through a critical feminist curriculum so that they can critique and overcome the struggles they face.
So we focus very deliberately on helping our girls resist a system that is very, very violent towards them. And how we do that is, that's where drama plays a very strong role, and the critical dialogues that surround the drama play an even greater role in helping these girls develop a sense of themselves, develop aspirations and dreams, and develop friendships, and develop a sense of self-value, so that they begin to value themselves and they start behaving differently at home.
We had the opportunity to sit in on these critical dialogues and saw firsthand how the girls begin to imagine new realities in their lives.
हम लोग बेटे ऐसे नहीं मानते थे.
Auntie, they don't know their rights. Auntie, women.
They don't know their rights and they don't know their responsibilities. They don't know that they have social responsibilities.
बस आंटी उनको एक ही रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आती है घर को चलाने
One responsibility, my kitchen. Which is important, but that's the only responsibility they know. बाकी और उनकी जिंदगी.
After only a short period of time at Prerna, it became obvious that this change in the school had benefited the students. There is an unwavering sense of connection, community, and safety that students feel in their classrooms. Making drama together and from the material of their lives is integral to this feeling. Students, including Lakshmi Nishad, shared with us how grateful they are for the opportunities they have at Prerna, especially for engaging in drama. During our visit, Dr. Sani translated many of our conversations with the girls, including this one with Lakshmi.
So she's saying that my life has completely changed, and she's saying, I don't know how to say it, but in the beginning I would never speak. And then I told my problem to Auntie, that's the principal, and she said, you took a lot of interest in my life, and I felt like if I keep talking about my issues, they will get solved. So she kept talking about them, and she kept having them resolved, and so on and so forth, and now she says, I feel really strong.
I was stopped to see the dreams become so anything.
She says now I'm able to look to have dreams and know that I will become
What I have.
The idea that drama gave the girls at Prerna a voice for the first time in their lives came up in many other conversations with the students as well. Prerna students Preeti, Kushbu, and Lakshmi told us why they valued the critical dialogues and the drama that they created at their school.
because it is always related to our lives. So we can share easily and give our views on that.
Okay. Kushbu, what do you think?
And we learn more thing about कभी जैसे कि प्रीति ने किसी के बारे में बताया.
She says we learn a lot from other people's experiences and we learn more about our rights as we discuss these things.
और क्रिटिकल डायलॉग की वजह से हम लोग जो हमारे मन में होता है वो हम बता देते हैं, दूसरे बताते हैं.
She says when we all tell our stories, then we are sort of bound together and our confidence grows. And more people join us because they feel if they join us, their strength will grow too.
And we also get different ideas in that. How we solve one problem in a different aspect.
So they get different perspectives.
Right. This conversation at Prerna reminded me of a conversation I had with Miss S in Toronto about why she was drawn to working with teenagers through drama.
High school just seemed right to me. I always felt drawn to youth and teenagers and adolescents and that stage of life where you're kind of questioning everything. And because I don't think I've ever stopped really questioning everything, that I like to still be engaged with that kind of level, and I find teenagers most connected to that.
And this opportunity to share personal stories is something that Belle values as well.
Like, people want to talk about personal things opposed to Coca-Cola's new logo, right? People want to get to know each other. It's all about socializing and getting to know each other. So to do that, you got to give a little bit of yourself to get some back.
At Prerna, students had the opportunity to create a 1-minute digital story about their lives, and Lakshmi courageously opened up about her own very difficult life challenges. Since that time, many other students have joined her in speaking out against domestic violence.
Hi, I'm Lakshmi Nishad from India. I live in a small house with my family. I have 3 sisters and a brother. I'm the eldest of them all. When I was 13 years, my mother died. My youngest sister was only 11 months. Now I must take care of my whole family. Lalita and me work as domestic help in several houses. All this time our school Prerna has been our haven. All my friends at Prerna are like my sisters. We laugh together and cry together. My journey in search of home ends here.
In her story, Lakshmi speaks about her dad being an alcoholic who does not financially or emotionally support his family. This had a tremendous impact on her peers because she spoke out about something that is typically silenced.
When Lakshmi's movie was shown, And we showed it to our middle class kids because we wanted them to get a sense of what children go through, and we were trying to educate them. So some of them just took it upon themselves to go to her house. They were so moved that they went to her house to protest and to, they were kids. And she got really mad, so she came back because the neighbors started to yell at her and said, look at how you're bad-mouthing your dad and you're doing this publicly, da 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 da. Anyway, so she said, I don't want that movie shown anywhere, please be careful, etc. So I spoke to our students who just walked off. But interestingly, her group said to her, she said, hey, wait a minute. Those people came and yelled at you for bad-mouthing your father. What do they do when he beats you up? Do they yell at him? You let them be. This is good to show. Everyone should know what he's like. And then I spoke to them together about how oppressions in private spaces happen because they kept private. When it becomes public, when you open that out, sometimes it's harder, and you are protected by making it public.
This conversation is reflective of the fact that, in its own way, the Doors project was taken up by the students at Prerna after they watched the Middleview performance online. Throughout my research, I've encouraged the students and teachers that I've worked with to share their work and thoughts with one another. After Miss S uploaded a video of the Doors' final performance at Middleview to her class blog, Dr. Sani decided to show it to her students at Prerna. From there, the Prerna girls wrote poems that were based on the metaphor of doors in their lives, and combined these poems to create a larger performance called Darwazi. The first act of the performance told the story of Khushbu, a Prerna student being refused the right to an education because of the pressures of child marriage. Dr. Sani explained to us the process and the outcome of creating this piece.
Her father-in-law refuses to let her go to school and to finish the exam. He said, nonsense, that was all nonsense. I don't know why your mother put you through that. Fill your head with all kinds of stupid ideas and you can't do it. So she had come to visit. So we sat around the table and we were talking, and so we put it to the group. So what do you think she should do? So one of them said that she just shouldn't go back. She'd just make some excuse and stay and give her exam. And the other one said she should say she's sick. And so she says, I don't think I can do any of that. But the point was, everyone will helpfully tell her what to do. And they will talk from their own experience that I managed to say no, you should have said no, and you didn't do that. And in fact, from the thing, one of them said, Khushbu, in fact, she said that if not for all the critical dialogues and that we got the space to talk about our lives and to find the strength together, we would not have been able to say no to this marriage.
Miss S took the time to share her perceptions with us of her students' engagement with the Doors project and some of the impact of their creative work.
And then what do you learn about theater by making it with young people?
Oh, I find it's like very alive with young people and really creative. And I prefer to work theatrically with teenagers than with adults, because the teenagers are so interesting and they're coming into their own power. And so, giving them these opportunities to speak their power or to find their voice or whatever, it's really thrilling. Mm-hmm. And the work that I can create theatrically with youth is so interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they also, because the students are so diverse and they come from such interesting backgrounds, the work is like really, really interesting. And I find in theater world, in the art world or the indie art world or whatever, there's a lot of the same. Mm-hmm. So it's not as interesting, it's not as rich.
Speaking with Miss S helped us to think differently about the idea of student engagement.
This class this year was so engaged all the time. There's so much I could have done with them, right? Just continued and continued and continued. We could do. They were just open to everything. So in other words, the expectation that kids in a school like yours, who are facing a multitude of issues, as we know many of these students were, this perception and reality, this perception you have of them as deeply engaged, flies in the face of so much literature about who is disengaged. Yeah. So what do you say to that? Mm-hmm. Inner city youth, troubled youth, impoverished youth, they struggle with disengagement. And this was, although rare, a pretty powerfully engaged group. So what was that about? What was there? I've seen so many powerfully engaged inner city troubled youth, they're hungry for experiences that will engage them. So it's just finding the challenge is actually finding the right material to engage students, right? And that's always what you're looking for as a teacher, but you can. You just have to keep fighting and trying, to do it, but it's not always such an easy sell. Like in this group, it was. I felt like I had to constantly find things to keep them challenged. That was what was challenging, because they could rise to any challenge, and they could. This is the kind of group that could have gone, they could purple play together, right?
While so much of what we have presented so far reflects the positive aspects of a drama classroom at both schools, we saw other examples where drama presented challenges. While students at Prerna seemed to experience fewer challenges in drama and expressed great enthusiasm for it, they still found performance and self-expression tough at times.
So when you share your life, Kathleen Auntie asked that what is that? How does that feel? So is it difficult?
Sometimes I can't show emotion.
So it's difficult as in a performance sense. That
Right.
Sometimes she can't express herself.
Right.
Okay.
मैंने आंटी जहाँ तक कि
So she says that in our family, girls don't really speak a lot. They aren't supposed to, and girls aren't considered as being able to do anything. So, she says, when I came here, I saw that it's possible. So she saw the possibilities for herself, and she says that many people have helped me here. My teachers, you, me, her friends, and she says that it's because of that I am who I am today. She says, I don't think I would have become anything at all, and if I had just lived in my family, then really there was no chance for me.
In Toronto, tensions and negative peer relationships in the classroom sometimes led to disappointment and disengagement.
Going in front of the whole school, doing a play that you're not so confident about, and having like your friends laugh at you, it's just, I guess it's embarrassing, some would say. But then some people have to realize it's just acting, right? That's what you're doing, it's not you.
And for some students like Belle, despite all the good things that happen within their drama classroom and how much effort they put into their work there, it can still sometimes feel like an unproductive or even chaotic environment.
It just made me frustrated with my peers, and the fact that there's no support for each other. Like at the beginning, it was a little bit because people were excited to get it on its feet, but then afterwards people just started dropping out. I don't want to do this, and then people had to pick up responsibilities for other people, which isn't really nice. And so it's not a good feeling, I guess, to have your classmates kind of bail on you, but then that's life, you got to learn from it.
Miss S, of course, feels many of these same challenges.
How do you cope with the ways in which their lives outside of school, the rest of the school, the competing interests, impede that process of making good theater?
It's so hard. I talked to a girl today who came up to me, and she's so great. She's in my period 5 class, and she says, "Miss, you have to help me make this happen." She shows me this book that she's been writing about this dance performance, that's just huge dance performance that she has in mind that will, that she has a whole vision for it. And so we started getting into how are we going to make it happen? How can I support you? And she's like, we can only do it at lunch because no one can come after school. So, and lunch is so hard. And I need to eat my lunch and I need a break. And so so when it does happen, it's like the fact that this piece is coming together and hopefully will be performed on Wednesday, it's like a little miracle, So you have to fight under incredibly hard circumstances to make anything happen at my school.
For Miss S, while creating such an involved and personal project with students is exciting work, it's also emotional terrain that can thwart communication and test relationships. Here's an excerpt from one of her Doors rehearsals, which features a difficult exchange with her student, Derek.
So are you planning on trying to create this character? You're just not feeling it right now today?
I'm not feeling this at all, miss. On the script.
Sorry, the whole script?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Did
If you don't want to be in this, you don't have to. We can find someone else to replace you.
Alright, I just respectfully asked if I could just do stage stuff and not act.
And we need somebody to do stage stuff anyways.
Well, you're okay. Get off stage. You can take a 0 on the assignment. To be honest. Yeah, you'll take over the part.
In an interview with us after the rehearsals and the performance, Miss S explained that while she largely felt that most of the students were engaged on a daily basis, moments like that one with Derek really took a toll on her and on the classroom.
He was being really negative while we were trying to get him to perform this part in the play, and I'm like, are you just not feeling it right now? And he goes, well, I'm not feeling this at all. I'm not feeling the script. I'm just not feeling anything about anything that we're doing. And Jovisha said something yesterday too. She said, I hate this class. I mean, I don't hate the people. I hate the work that we're doing in it. And it's so hurtful. It's so painful for me to hear comments like that. And they're coming from kids that really don't give anything, right? Like, and I think that they're hiding behind so much in themselves. And I know, like, part of me just wanted to get so angry at him when he said that. But there's the part of me that's the teacher part of me, like the person part of me wants to get angry at him and let him know how I'm feeling. But the teacher part of me says, this kid said that because they're in a certain headspace and they need to say that because they're afraid. Like, I think he's just afraid of exposing himself and performing, and he's always hiding behind so many masks.
But you should see his focus group interview. You would be amazed because he talks about what he thinks about in drama class and what a creative open space it provides for him. And he has films in his head and music in his head in your class. So he talks about it so positively.
Well, he can.
On days, right? It's like one day, the other day, moment to moment, you never know.
He changed that. He can be very positive. He can be a very positive person, but there's so many kids in that class that are mercurial like that, you know?
And we witnessed that mercurial nature because despite the bad rehearsal day he'd had, Derek decided to rejoin the Doors project and take a part on stage, playing the role of Heaven in his peer Erica's piece. Erica, who is Belle's best friend, told her personal story of coming out as a lesbian, but feeling condemned by religion. And while Derek participated, not everything in the performance for the school went smoothly.
There are those that say, heaven is a door that never closes.
Welcome to heaven. We accept everybody.
I've often wondered about heaven, and if there is such a place. Because for the last 2 years, I've been told that I'm going to hell. Why, you ask?
Because you're gay. Sorry.
And because of this, I stopped believing in heaven and hell altogether. Why believe in a place that's supposed to reject me? A place that doesn't accept me, all because of who I fall in love with.
Derek's slightly mocking tone was a painful moment to witness, but of course much was going on for Derek as well. He seemed to be strategically distancing himself from a scene that appeared on the surface to support a gay character. He undermined the scene for a laugh. This is complicated emotional terrain. The stakes were simply too high in front of his peers, and schools, despite great progress, are still places where homophobia lives. The relationship between social roles and artistic representation is sometimes too close.
You're trying to create often like an authentic piece of art, and that's different because a lot of times students are working for a test or for a mark, and in drama there's more of like the product, the thing that you're trying to earn your marks for is often real if it has an audience or just the class as an audience. So there's a different kind of motivation and also fear that kids have in drama than there's a lot at risk in that sense. It's not, you can't hide behind the paper and
the stakes are higher.
Stakes are higher. And that's why there's also a lot of sabotaging of the class, I think, because they're afraid to, if you're really getting into the work, that really makes them have to do stuff in front of others, and that's hard.
When we spoke to Erica after the performance, it became very clear to us just how important the Doors project had been for her.
I was extremely nervous, only because, first, any performance in front of your whole school is it makes you really nervous, but to have that kind of topic brought up with high school students doesn't always happen. And to be the one person to do it, upstage by myself, telling my whole personal life that was really scary, and I wasn't sure how they were going to react to it.
When we told her how terrible we thought it must have been to experience the laughter from the audience as a result of Derek's flamboyance, we were surprised by how forgiving she was, suggesting that we might be reading too much into the situation. What really mattered, for her, was that she'd been able to get up in front of her peers and tell her story.
I was actually really grateful, I guess I can say. A lot of kids my age, don't handle the whole homosexual thing very well, and so to have my class behind me and supporting me and stuff like that was actually it helped me a lot, even just the way I felt about myself and the way people looked at me, to know that my whole class was behind me no matter what, and they didn't judge me or anything. It was really great. So.
And when we asked her what she thought of her classmates' participation in the Doors project, specifically for students who were sabotaging, she reflected candidly.
I think if they would have kind of came together more and it seemed like the spotlight had to be on certain people all the time, and it wasn't a positive spotlight, it was negative, you know what I mean, and they would try to make stupid jokes or just be rude to the teacher and stuff like that. I think that if that wouldn't have happened, we could have got done a lot more.
Why do you think that was happening?
It's just people's egos, really. I think they just want the spotlight on them, and I want everyone to laugh at me, and I want everyone to think I'm cool, and so that's their way of doing that. But really, it just made them look stupid to me. I don't know.
In further discussions with Miss S, it occurred to us that maybe Erica's ability to let it go and see the greater good in her experience was influenced by Miss S's resilience and daily responses to the challenges in the class.
In drama, it's a circle, and it's, we're always emphasizing that circle, and it's that sense of being responsible to each other in the group, and looking at everybody in the eye, and trying to build genuine community in your classroom, and really address, because in other classes students don't tend to interact as a whole group, then those dynamics don't ever really need to get addressed because they don't occur. But in drama, the fact that it is so communal and engaged socially, those dynamics come up, conflict happens in drama. It doesn't happen in other classes in the same way. Sometimes it does, but so you either are dealing with it or not, and the way that you're dealing with it, I think, really affects the learning of the students about how to deal with conflict, how to be responsible to other people in their lives, how to communicate.
Erica underscores the different pedagogical space of the drama classroom.
I know, in drama class we actually got to talk to each other and learn things about one another. I don't know, in other classes nobody asked about your life, you know what I mean, or to share anything about yourself. And in drama class you do.
Given what Miss S confronts on a daily basis, she's left with many questions about her role.
Sometimes I question my own health in the face of that. Why am I pushing myself so hard to get this 10-minute piece done? And does that is that worth it? And I don't know if it's worth it. Sometimes I really don't know. But then if I didn't have that 10-minute piece, what would I feel like I've accomplished this semester? So I push myself and I push them to do it because you feel good about it after you've done it. But there's a price. There's a real price to pay. I do get burnt out, and it affects my personal life and my health, and I don't always know if it's worth it, but I do feel like it's worth it sometimes because I do love to create art.
For a student like Erica, the effort that Miss S puts into her drama class is definitely worth a lot. In an interview, she told us how much she appreciates the feeling of connection Miss S creates in her classroom.
I like when I'm close with my teachers to where I can talk to them about certain things going on in my life, or they tell me certain things, you know what I mean? That's nice to have. And I think you respect somebody more when they're not just a figure, like an authority figure. You respect them when they're a human being, like, you know what I mean? And when you actually have some kind of relationship with them. So, yeah. Like, I talked to Miss a lot. And, like, she knew things that were going on with me, and I knew things that were going on with her. And, I don't know, I thought she was pretty good, like, open with the classroom about her life. And just, like, I mean, obviously there's a boundary. Like, you know, we don't want to know everything about teachers' lives. But I thought I was a good balance.
As researchers, we've been privy to the experiences, the feelings and the thoughts of drama students and drama educators living and learning in diverse urban schools, beyond the familiar salvation narratives of the arts. It's been a privilege to observe a teacher like Miss S, who is prepared to face her own struggles alongside her students. In the same way, we were also fortunate to have had the opportunity to speak to many young people, like Belle, Erica, and Lakshmi, about their experiences in drama classrooms, and their views have shaped our understanding over the last few years. We've learned from our participants that life in drama classrooms is living at the extremes. It is often troubling and remarkable at the same time, as teachers and students together strive to communicate and make art.